All right, we're going to take a look at Serious Talk now. Another Carver story from that middle collection. Usually pair this with Gazebo. Uh, kind of see how they go together. Huh? It doesn't look like an old Eddie shirt. Sorry. My wife is trying on clothes now. Um, anyway, interesting structure of this story. This is one of those instances where I would probably ask you a question in class. I'll go ahead and sort of ask it hypothetically. I want you to think about it. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit more in the forum. But we open up with Vera's car. No others. Bert gave thanks for that. Bert's our third person point of view character we're sticking with. He pulled into the drive, stopped beside the pie he dropped the night before. It was still there. The aluminum pan upside down, a halo of pumpkin filling on the pavement. It was the day after Christmas. Great image. An image to show you that something has happened. We don't know what. We just know that a pie was spilled. And he knew that he dropped it. It was there from the night before. And we are the day after Christmas when he shows up. Then we go backwards. And we spin the next section, next two sections, the rest of this section and the next section on Christmas Day. I'll get to my question here in a second. Anyway, he'd come on Christmas Day to visit his wife and kids. Vera had warned him beforehand. She told him the score. She said he had to be out by 6 o'clock because her friend and his children were coming for dinner. Again, very subtle, but lets us know that Bert seems to be out of the picture. They're doing the whole two Christmas things that I knew when I was younger. And Bert, throughout this experience on Christmas Day, starts to feel these little pinpricks of that eventually lead to this sort of lashing out that he does with the fireplace. So they start very slowly, just knowing that he has to come early, he has to be gone by a certain point. That's sort of underlying bothering him. But just watch all these sort of really great details. They had sat in the living room, opened presents Bert had brought over. They had opened packages while the other packages wrapped in festive paper lay piled under the tree waiting until after 6 o'clock. So his presents they opened, but there's other presents there, meaning another life that his wife, his ex-wife, and his kids are living without him. As an image to show that rather than to tell it. He watched many of you too, just great job on the forum stuff. I continue to be impressed. Just finding these Carver stories can be so spare, and it can be intimidating to look for things to sort of examine. And already I just see you doing exactly what you should be doing, is paying attention to the details that Carver does use and what he tells us with those, or what he shows us with those details, rather than just coming right out and telling us. I believe somebody brought up the fact that in Why Don't You Dance, the first item they look at is maybe the bed. Is that right? And just very good analysis. So he watched the children open their gift, waited while Vera undid the ribbon on hers. He saw herself the paper lift, taking out the cashmere sweater. Note that he gets her something personal, physical, tangible. She can hold it. It's nice, she said. Thank you, Bert. Try it on, his daughter said. Put it on, his son said. Bert looked at his son, grateful for him backing him up. Now, I don't really know how much backing up there is there by the son, but Bert seems to be just reaching for anything, any sign of someone being on his side. It's interesting that the daughter says basically the same thing. Try it on. The son says, put it on. But Bert looks at his son and is grateful. You wonder if there's some sort of dynamic there with Bert, the daughter, the wife. Maybe figures the daughter has the wife's side in this. Maybe the son has his side more simply because of gender. Don't know for sure, but there is a difference. He makes a distinction. She did try it on. She went to the bedroom, came out with it on. It's nice. It's nice on you, Bert said. Felt a welling in his chest. He feels this warmth. He feels close to her. He opened his gifts from Vera. He got her a cashmere sweater. She gets him a gift certificate, meaning go buy what you want. I'm not going to take the time to pick something out for you. So it's impersonal. His gift is personal. Her gift is impersonal. Because she's moved on, it seems like. Bert doesn't realize this. He gets a matching comb from his daughter and brush from his son, a ballpoint pen. It was still at Christmas. Vera served sodas. They did a little talking. Mostly they looked at the tree. Then the daughter got up and began setting the dining room table. His son went off to his room. Bert liked it where it was. He liked it in front of the fireplace, a glass of sand, his house, his home. Then Vera went to the kitchen. Some interesting, you can make some interesting connections here too between Bert character and the man character in Why Don't You Dance, and that the man character seems to end up with his home, minus the wife, yet he ends up getting rid of all the possessions. Here, Bert seems angered by those tangible things when he doesn't have the home, nor his wife. And slowly, no pun intended, Bert starts sort of burning because he sees his daughter setting the table not for them, but for the guests that night, her mother's new boyfriend. Bert watched her fold the linen napkin, watched her put a slender vase in the middle of the table, watched her lower a flower, and this sets him off. He sees a small wax and sawdust log burning in the grate. He's burning too. Carton of 5 more. We know these like sort of the fire starter things. There's 5 more ready. He got it from the sofa and throws them all in, which is a dangerous thing to do. He watched until they flamed. Then he finished, so he causes this giant fire in the fireplace. Finishes soda, made for the patio door. On the way, he saw the pies lined up on the sideboard. He stacked them in his arms, all 6, one for every 10 times she'd betrayed him. It's a very interesting arithmetic there. In the driveway in the dark, he'd let one fall as he fumbled with the door. Now we get back to the beginning of the story. So a couple things. This sort of sad, pathetic gesture by Bert is something we've seen some form of in all the stories. This may be the weakest. I mean, it's him leaving the house angry and needing to do something to show how angry he is. He steals these pies that she's fixed for dinner that night. Very Carver-esque, really. I think originally the title of this story was Pie, actually, and dropped them. So that's how that one had fallen there. It does make you wonder if he ate the other pies, gave them away. Now we get back to the present when the story started. The front door was permanently locked since the night his key had broken off inside of it. Note that's a detail that speaks to backstory without ever having to give us backstory. We assume it's probably some shenanigans he'd gotten into. Now my question is, all right, there's one paragraph of him arriving, seeing the pumpkin pie there in the driveway. It's the day after Christmas. Then we get 2 sections of Christmas. Then we come back and we start the rest of the story. My question to you is, why does Carver choose to open that opening paragraph the day after Christmas and then go back in time rather than just have him show up on Christmas Day, cut the first paragraph completely, have him show up on Christmas Day, and then two sections later, he shows back up? One answer, smart answer to go to is it does create a sense of tension, although there will be more tension created later on in this story. Sets us up wondering about the pies, but you can do that in a number of ways. What Carver's doing here is he's using structure to drive home the point. He's using structure in aid of character and in aid of theme. He's driving home the point that this is not a story about something that goes wrong. This is a story about something that's already wrong. This isn't a Christmas story. This is an aftermath story. This is an aftermath of Christmas story. And the fact that he uses Christmas, it works holiday-wise for a number of reasons. But Christmas, without a doubt, can certainly be one of the biggest, in terms of the level of excitement